Good morning, Trojans. Happy Friday. I am so proud of us for making it through this super funky first week of school in 2022. We've made it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Here we are, Friday, the last day of this week. Again, you know that I know that we know that we don't know what next week will hold, whether we'll still be in our homerooms or whether we'll start to rotate again. I would rather plan for what you prefer the least. So for me, that's planning on doing this again. That way, if something different happens, we can be excited about it. But for our math class today, you will need 4 things. I don't have one of them here because I have not printed them yet. You will need, of course, your daily math expectation sheet. You should have this out during our math time together. That way you can reference it anytime you need it. Second, you will need your Lesson 5 packet. If you have turned it into me, you will be getting it back today if you have not already. That will help you. You will want it for our quiz today. And then the third thing is our exponents homework. Again, if you turn that into me, you should be getting it back if you haven't already. If you turn it in and you did not get it back, please ask your host teacher because I have handed it to them to give back to you. That. Fourth thing is just our daily assignment checklist. You'll have a copy of that as well today. And that's about it. So on our agenda for today, the first thing, which hopefully already happened, is you're getting back any checked homework. If you've turned it into me, you'll be getting it back. Second thing is watching this video, which if you're watching this, you're hearing this, you're already doing that. That's awesome. Super proud of you. 3 things in this video, this check-in right here and reviewing the agenda. Second, reviewing our exponents. And then third, receiving the instructions for our quiz today. Back to our agenda. The third thing on that is our Exponents Quiz. It is on Schoology. It's brief, and as long as you've done what we've done this week together, you've done the IXL, you've done the homework, and most importantly, you did our lesson notes together, you're going to do really well on it. I have complete confidence in you being able to show your mastery of exponents. After that, just finish any unfinished math work for this week, and then turn in any homework from this week that you haven't yet turned in. You've got a clear bin in your host teacher's classroom. Put it in there, and I will come retrieve it. Just one more time, I'm so proud of everyone who's worked hard in math on this strange week, and you've completed everything we needed to. If you haven't yet completed everything you needed to, please make sure you do. I will be reaching out to families, adults, guardians, neighbors, brothers, sisters, whoever I need to reach out to this weekend just to touch base on, hey, you're doing everything you need to do, or hey, there's some things that you haven't yet done. Also, super important, and I'm sorry we don't have a schedule yet, we are going to have map testing either next week when we get back or the week after that. So I'm going to be meeting with you all either today or next week, just to touch base on your map scores, let you know about some incentives we've got, and also touch on your iReady data as well. But without any further ado, I'm going to kick it over there. And here we are. We're going to talk about our exponent review. So 3 things that we're going to want to definitely have written down somewhere. If you can point to where these 3 things are on your Lesson 5 notes, that's perfect. If you cannot, write these down somewhere else. One last thing about that, I would just write these down big and bold on the top of your Lesson 5 notes. If for some reason you don't have your Lesson 5 notes, put it big and bold on a piece of paper. The first thing is an exponent. It's just repeated multiplication. Repeated multiplication. So we're doing the multiplication again and again and again of the same number. Like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Or 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. It's the same number again and again. I'm going to kick this down a little. Doesn't like me today, y'all. So exponent is repeated multiplication. That means we're doing the multiplication again and again. The second thing we talked about, the word cubed means to the 3rd power. Cubed to the 3rd power. I guess we can put that in there as well. The 3rd means 3, power. And then squared. Squared means to the second power, so you've got that 2 as the exponent. Anytime you see squared, our exponent is going to be 2, and that does mean the second power. Second meaning 2. All right, I'm going to pause here for just a moment. Make sure everyone has those either identified in your notes. If you're not rewriting them, you can point to them in your notes. Please put a box around them. That way your eye will be drawn right to it. So I'm going to pause here for 20 more seconds, and then we're going to move on to 2 practice problems. Exponent cubed squared. Squared cubed exponent. I will be moving on in 4 more seconds. Awesome. So our first number here, I'll zoom out because I wrote it super big, is 5 to the third power. So in here we have 2 numbers. I'd like you to write this down on your piece of paper because we are going to write down just 2 of these. So write down 5 to the third power on your piece of paper in your notebook or your paper. Remember, you need those every day when we come to class. Math class, whether you're here, in another room, at home, on the moon, math class, paper, pencil. Awesome. So now that you've gotten 5 to the third power written down, I want you to take your right index finger and I want you to point to the base. Which of these numbers is the base? Take your right index finger, point to the base, all right, and check your work. Are you pointing the same one I'm pointing to? Our base is the 5. So we are absolutely going to label that the base. Now I would like you to take your left thumb and point to the exponent. That's a little awkward, isn't it? We don't usually use our thumbs to point, but check your work against mine. I'm pointing to that 3. Are you pointing to the 3? Absolutely awesome. I'm super proud. There we go. So our 3 is our exponent. And we read this as 5 to the third power. 5 is our base, 3 is our exponent. We are going to write this in expanded form. Now, expanded form is where we write out the multiplication. We're going to take our base, and we're going to write it the number of times of our exponent. Our exponent was 3. So we need 3 5s. And then we know that exponents show repeated multiplication, so between our 5s we need our multiplication sign. And then when we go down to write it in standard notation, all we're doing is solving it, multiplying 5 times 5 times 5. And I know 5 times 5 is 25, then 25 times 5 is 125. As a reminder, you are welcome to use your calculator on this quiz. There should be one that pops up on the quiz itself. If not, you can use a calculator on your computer. All of this unit is calculator friendly, our whole exponents order of operations. So 5 to the third power is equal to 5 times 5 times 5 is equal to 125. All right, we are going to take on our second question of the day. It is right here. 3 to the fourth power. Y'all say that? 3 to the fourth power? Awesome. Again, we have our base, we have our exponent. Exponent, base, base, exponent. We're going to label those again because they never change. Our base is always the big number that comes first. The exponent is always the number that is on the right side up in the air. It's a little bit smaller. It looks like the base is giving the exponent a piggyback ride. So we've got our base, we've got our exponent. We now know how to go into expanded form. Go ahead and give that a shot. You've got 15 seconds, then we'll check our work. Go. Right, 3 to the fourth power in expanded form. All right, so we know that our base was 3. So we're going to have to write 3 down here. And our exponent tells us how many 3s there are going to be. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And we know it is multiplication, it is times, because it is an exponent, and exponent is repeated multiplication. Now that we have our answer here, we can absolutely go ahead and solve. Oh, there goes the lights. Let's turn on this light. I haven't moved enough. So we are going to go ahead and solve it. We're going to multiply 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. So our standard notation is 81. Awesome. If you have questions about this, please let me know, your host teacher know, or ask your neighbor. Once we start our quiz, though, it is not open neighbor, just open notes. All right, I'm going to zoom me up over here. We're soaring, we're flying. Why doesn't it let me move my corner? There we go. There we go. All right, so we've talked about our agenda. We've now reviewed exponents. Now it is time for me to give you instructions about our quiz today. So it is on exponents. It is 10 questions, not super hard. It is open note. You can use your lesson 5. You can use your homeworks. You can use the notes we just took, or the review we just did right now. It's 10 questions. 8 of them are multiple choice. 2 of them are not. There will be a calculator on the screen. And there is a password. If you need help during this, please raise your hand and ask your host teacher. If your host teacher can't help you, ask them to ask me for help. Y'all, the password for this quiz is math, all lowercase, no spaces. If you have questions, let me know, let your host teacher know. Please show your work on a piece of paper if you need to. I would highly recommend doing your different forms, your exponential, writing down your exponential form, then going to standard form, then going to expanded form, and then going to standard form on a piece of paper. So you've got everything there. But y'all are going to do great today. Super proud of your hard work. You may now go ahead and get started on the next thing on our agenda, which is our quiz. Y'all have an awesome day. Have an awesome weekend if I don't see you today. And I'll see you back here on Monday. Bye, y'all.